Thanks so much for joining us again on The Collective. Hope all is well with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Going to get right to the nitty-gritty of the interview. This is the SM Experience on WSME Enlightenment Radio. And my guest this evening is the part 2 of the part 1 with the legend in New Jack Swing, hip hop, 90s music, Andrew Sugar Dice Rhamdhanny. And we welcome him back to continue his story and to tell us what he's doing now and, maybe give some pointers to all of you up and coming artists. So we welcome Andrew Sugar Dice Rhamdhanny back to the collective. Thanks so much for giving your time. I know this is a little past your bedtime, but because really? You're on that worldwide time. So
yeah, well, I'm good.
Thank
I'm not
you.
Complaining.
All right. Dice is the head of Sugar Dice Entertainment and Melody Music Worldwide. So when we left off in part 1, Puffy was basically leaving Uptown because of Mark Siegel's suit against MCA.
Something like that.
Yeah. So how did he eventually branch off into Bad Boy, though? Was that sort of the beginning?
No. Bad Boy was a label that we had created with him. It was his label on Uptown Records. Actually, what we did, we had put out 2 records on Bad Boy. He had put out 2 records when Uptown was on Bad Boy. He had put out a record called Party and Bullshit.
Yes.
And then he had another one called Dreams of an R&B. You know what?
And that was Biggie, right?
Yeah, that was Biggie's record.
But was he the Notorious B.I.G. then, or was he just Biggie?
He was always really the Notorious Big, but we just called him Biggie. We didn't want to say, a lot of people would just say Biggie. It's like, my name is Andrew Rhamdhanny, but everybody don't call me that,
Right.
And even the Sugar in Dice, they don't call me Sugar Dice. Some people call me Sugar, some people call me Dice, but, very few people. Only person I think that call me Sugar Dice all the time is Russell Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you shorten the name, call him Biggie. You ain't going, Notorious Big. No, we don't do that. We just, Big A.
Yeah, because I remember coming back from Impact, and one of the tapes that they had, cassette tapes, so you know how long ago this was, one of the cassette tapes they gave us was a sampler, and it had Party and BS on it.
Yeah.
And we killed it. I think we ended up popping the tape. And I got a couple of copies from a friend who shall remain nameless.
Okay.
I got a couple of copies of it and shopped it to some DJs here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a promo that we had given out,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the first 2 songs off his off the Uptown Bad Boy label.
Okay.
And after that, when he had to leave and he left, he ended up coming back when he got the deal with Clive Davis, and he bought the album. They paid for the Biggie's album.
Okay.
And it was a stupid deal, but we should have kept it. But for the money he paid for it and the money he made from it.
Yeah. There's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So, but we kept on rolling. We got the Lost Boys and Soul for Real, and we kept rolling. But I did miss Puff when he left because, like I said, Puff worked. He was a workhorse, and he did everything you asked him to do, and he was energetic, and we needed that because we was getting older.
Yeah, and you all have been on the road, and now you're a little fat and happy.
No, well, actually, I never got fat. This is the heaviest I ever been in my life.
But what I mean by that is,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You kind of slowed it down, and
No,
he was still out there.
you think I
You
slowed it down?
Well, let me put it to you this way. You were in the studio more than you were on the road. Every now and then you might be on the road with an artist.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. When you get to a certain position, you don't be. I remember, like Jimmy Love used to have a hard time with Mary. One day
Mm-hmm.
he came complaining to Andre about we was doing a video for the TV show we had done, New York Undercover, and we was doing an album for that, and we had did a song, a Aretha Franklin song on Mary, and we was doing the video in Central Park for that song.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy went to Dre and he told Dre, Mary got to be in the park at 6 o'clock in the morning. How I'm going to wake up? And Andre said, Negro, you got a budget. Give Dice some money. She'll get up when Dice come get her. And I never had a problem with her. And they
Well,
did
you
the
worked
same.
with Mary J. Blige very closely.
Yeah, and when she was when Jodeci came and they was going on tour, after a while, they couldn't get the whole band to go do morning shows.
Mm.
And once again, Jimmy was complaining to Andre, what am I do? I didn't book them no morning shows because they don't like to wake up. Andre said, you got a promotional budget, don't you? Give Dice some money and let Dice come on the road. They'll wake up when Dice come and get them.
Yeah, because
So
you kind of brought that military with
no,
you.
no, no, no. You could say that, but I don't
Yeah,
think that.
I witnessed
I
it.
think, yeah, well, there was times you had to be a little hard when you running behind time, but
Yeah,
I think I had a good relationship with everybody. Everybody liked me and they respected me, and they knew more or less that when Dice come, it's more of a serious thing. If Dice is here, you know, we're gonna do what he need us to do. It wasn't
yeah,
my job. Promotions wasn't my job, but Andre always told Jimmy, man, take some of your budget and give Dice some money and let him come on the road. And when he wake them, they'll get up when Dice wake them up.
yeah.
So that's why I used to go out there sometime. I was getting extra paper, you know, and then, my favorite groups was on the road. And, when they
Who are
have
your favorite groups?
I don't want to say because I don't want people to get mad, but all of them was my favorite group. But of course, I had a lot of love for Jodeci.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of love for Mary. The Lost Boys, I had a lot of love for them. Have me and Eddie F more or less locked in
Yeah,
that group. I would always help Eddie anytime he needed me when he's doing a project or he needed stuff. Me and Eddie was very close.
mm-hmm.
So I'd say the closest artist to me was Eddie F. And
But you and LL have a history. LL Cool J.
oh well, LL used to live with me when I
Yeah,
was in.
tell that story. Tell a little bit of that story.
Then
How
you
did that
go
happen?
back. He came to me one day. He had got kicked out by his mother, and he went to live with his granny, and granny kicked him out, and he had nowhere to go. So what was I gonna do? He came and he stayed with me for a while.
But was he not in the middle of making an album at that
Yeah, of
time?
course. That's why he had to have somewhere stable to stay. So, I was a bachelor. I didn't have nobody. So he came and lived on the couch. And then actually I started taking him on tour with us so he could get a feel of tour. Because I was
Uh-huh.
with Houdini at the time. I was on the road with Houdini. So I used to take him. One day I just told him, come on, we go on to Philly. I want you to come see the show. I want you to. So when we was close to New York, I would take him and say, come on, let's go to the show. Come on, you go on with me. And he got to see, he got to experience the tour and that part of it on the tour bus. And
Yeah.
he also got to see the the shows and all the big groups at the time performing. So it kind of psyched him. He knew what he had to do. So he went and put in the work because he said, man, this is for real. So yeah, it's for real. So when time for him, I think his first tour was the Def Jam 87 tour. And he was ready. He went and whipped himself into shape. And he was like, I'm ready, Dice. I'm ready. I said, I know. You here with me, I see. So he spent a little stint with me. Me and LL still have a good, great relationship when we do see each other. You know, he's busy. He lives in California.
Yeah.
But if I ever call him for a favor, like, for instance, I was doing Terrell Hicks' album. I'd finished it. They had a song, and George Jackson was coming to Motown, and there was word that he was going to drop Terrell Hicks because he didn't think her album was good. And I was like, George Jackson, God bless his soul, rest in peace, George. I was saying, what George know? He's a movie man. What he knew about music? So I knew he liked LL Cool J. So I couldn't get LL on the phone, but through Leo Cohen had told me, I called Def Jam and Leo told me he's going to be in DC. He's doing the NBC morning show. And me and Eddie got up early and drove to DC. And we hung out outside the NBC studio stage door. And when LL walked out the door and he seen me, he said, what you doing here? I said, I need a favor from you. And he said, anything for you. And he said, what you need? I said, man, I needed to do a remix on Terrell Hicks and I want you to rap on it. He said, Dice, let me produce the remix. I got you. And
wow.
I ended up flying to LA, me and Eddie, and LL and his road manager at the time produced the record with me. And it's one of her records. So I'm just saying, you know, he always saying, like a lot of these cats, when they write their book, they don't say things about their life, really.
Yeah.
They skip parts. And like I said, I was kind of dismissed when he didn't put me in his first book, you know.
So Dice, how many producer credits do you have? Do you know? Have you ever counted?
No, I don't know. Executive producer, a few. Because that was the title we got, because we were executives. So the executives become not no producer. You become the executive producer.
But that's because you bring people together and you do the budget, right?
Do everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the staff did, because I was at a certain level, at a certain time, I was a vice president. So,
right.
You know, between me and Eddie F., we all had to sign off on budgets, you know, especially at Motown Records. So, you know.
So how long were you at Uptown before you went to Motown?
20-something years.
So did Andre influence you to go, or
influence
did
me to
Heavy
go
bring
where?
you, or to go to Motown?
No, actually, how this went was, one day Andre just came to me and he said, yo, we out again. This is the second time he's telling me we out. And I said, out where? Where we going? And he said, I can't tell you yet, but I'm making a new move. I'm making a new movie, like he would say, and he'd do his nose and talking to me. I'm making a new movie, you know. And we're about to be out. So I said, what are you talking about? He told me about he's gonna talk to me. So then a couple of days later, he hinted to me about Motown. That he had already got a check from them for himself. He had got like a whole bunch of millions. He didn't tell me. So I said to him, no. So he came and he said, yo, I said, whatever moves you're making, I'm not with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, if it requires us leaving Uptown Records, like we did Def Jam, I'm not with that move. So he says, Sugar, I need to take you to Barbados. We need to go to Barbados. We got to talk. She said, I got you. We leaving this weekend. We going to Barbados for the weekend. And we went to Barbados. And mornings we'd get up for breakfast. And he dropped it on me. Be known to me that Russell Simmons had influenced Andre not to leave me at Uptown.
Wow.
Russell told him, Dice is your steady. I found this out later. Dice is your steady. Y'all have a great chemistry. He said, Dice was your road manager. He said, Andre, you still got an artist mentality sometimes. And he said, every time you go too far to the left or too far to the right, Dice is the one who pulls you back to the middle. And he said, you can't leave him. He said, if you leave him, you're going to fail. But I didn't know till later that was, and I kept on telling him, no, I'm not going. I said, you go up there, man. And me and him got in a big argument on the beach in Barbados. I said, Dre, when we first left Def Jam, you said, we're going to create the new Motown. That was your pitch line to me. We going to get our own joint, and you know, Dre's master and manipulator, you know. So he took me to Barbados. He put me up in the Sandy Lane Hotel, which is $1,200 a night for a
Yeah,
room.
it's a nice place.
On
I
the
heard.
beach. That's where Tiger Woods got married, you know. And me and him sitting in there for the weekend every morning for breakfast. We get up and we talk, and he would try to convince me. And finally I said, Dre, why don't you go and leave me at Uptown Records? He said, why you don't? I said, how am I going to leave Mary and Jodeci and all of them? I said, Dre, we struggled in the beginning with them, and we built them until he kept on throwing Motown acts at me. Kept on, well, you're going to have Boys to Men. You're going to have the mighty Diana Ross. You're going to have, and I'm like, this is nuts, Dre. Like, we didn't build that.
Right.
We didn't build that. I said, I have a little loyalty to Jodeci. I said, look at me. They get in a fight in their homes. It's Dice who had to go and chill them out. And, you know, special things come up, and you know it's important. Dice is the one who's rolling to make sure everything come. I said, man, Jodeci's like my little brothers. Mary's like my little sister, you know. And I'm naming all the groups as he's throwing, but he's throwing. You got Johnny Gill, and you got. I'm like, Dre, we didn't create that. So finally, the last day we was in Barbados, he's mad at me. We wasn't speaking. We'd go to eat. We'd hang out. We would hang out, but we wouldn't speak. He wouldn't speak to me. So the last day, he came. He woke me up early in the morning. Come on, let's go to breakfast. After a day of not speaking to me, almost 24 hours, he didn't speak to me. We were together, but he didn't speak to me. So we went to get an early breakfast. And he said, yo, seriously, Dice? Tell you what. And he gave me an offer. And when he gave me the offer, I couldn't really refuse. I said, Dre, you kidding me?
Did it look like a phone number?
It's just a signing bonus. He told me it's a signing bonus. That's just your signing bonus. I ain't tell you about your expense account. I ain't tell you about this. I ain't tell you about that yet. But your signing bonus is this. He said, just a sign on the dotted line. I said, Dre, you for real? So it was an offer. I never made that kind of money in my life, you know? Yeah. I couldn't make it. So what I did was I said, okay, so I did. We came back home. He moved on to Motown. Sugar Dice was hesitant, even though I agreed to go. But I didn't sign nothing at the moment. And he said to me, he left. He was leaving. He said, come on, let's go. I said, nah, I got some things to tie up here in Uptown. I ain't ready. I'm coming. So you coming? I said, yeah. So he left and I moved in his office. And all the groups. So one day, Mary and Casey and them came and they said, they heard because Casey was with Mary at the time. They was living together. And they came and Casey came in. Like, there's a rumor going around that you're about to leave and go to Motown. And I was dreading that day. You know.
Yeah.
And, I never want that day to come. But they came. They sat there and they were asking me, so what's the deal, Dice? What's the deal? You going? So I gave them a conversation about them making money. I said, listen, let me explain this to you. You guys walked in this office. I'm an executive in here. Within a year to a year and a half, y'all was millionaires. I said, I been here watching groups come, do all the work, put y'all together, do, run the road, do all, and y'all come in here in less than a year. In some cases, y'all become millionaires and I'm still getting a paycheck. I said, this is my time to get money. And like I said, that was a dread day for me because I didn't want that day to ever come. And I think that's the day I really had to make up my mind after that explanation. I told them, listen, like you guys came in here and a lot of people come in here. Everybody, I've been here from the beginning. So I watch everybody come in and, me basically working and helping you guys and running around, getting you guys ready for success. And then you guys, within a year, you get your success and you get your money. And I'm still here getting a paycheck while you guys are getting millions. And I said, Andre gave me an opportunity for me to get my money on, real money. So, and then they looked at me.
Go ahead. Finish that sentence.
And they okay, they understood that. And it was a big relief, like, because they understood what I was saying.
Yeah.
And I wish them luck, and I told them I loved them. And it was a sad occasion for me. I think after they left, I cried. Because it was emotional. It was emotional for me because, I never thought that I would leave Uptown Records until I was old and gray. And
well, hold that thought.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break.
Yes, madam.
And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about soca. And then we're going to talk about what you're doing now.
Soca.
Okay? Well, you had the Soca Army for a minute. Hold that thought.
SocaArmy.com.
Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking to legend in the music industry, Sugar Dice, Andrew Dice Rhamdhanny, reminiscing all the way from his Rush Entertainment days. We've now talked about him leaving Uptown, going to Motown. When we come back, we're going to talk about what he's doing now. All right?
Wow.
This is The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. We're back on The Collective, WSME Enlightenment Radio, enlightenmentmedia.com. My name is Michelle Turner. My guest this evening on The Collective is the one and only Andrew Rhamdhanny, better known in the business as Dice. And we're kind of wrapping up his story. This is the part two. He was on last week, and you can check it out on WSME Enlightenment Radio. Dice has it on his page, and I have it on my Facebook page. So without further ado, we're going to get into the next chapter. So for a while, Dice, you were doing soca music.
For a minute.
What made you change to Afrobeats?
The money factor. There was really no money. That, when you used to getting money and then you no longer, you reach for something and it wasn't bringing the revenue stream that you thought you could get from it, then, you had to find something new. Plus, when I traveled abroad, I was hearing this music that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And I started liking it. What's this? And everybody was like, that's African music. It didn't have a name at the time. They were saying, this is African music.
Around what time? Around what year?
Oh, God.
Early 2000s?
10 years ago.
Okay. So mid 2000s.
Before, like 11 years ago.
Okay.
So I started like, what's this? Everybody's playing it. They're playing this in Europe. They're playing it in England. What's this? And then me coming from the Caribbean and being a part of the soca music for a minute, it had that tribalness that I like and that I was used to being from the islands. And I just fell in love with the music and I wanted to find out about it.
Uh-huh.
And to find out about something, you got to go to the source. So I went to Nigeria. And plus, we had an artist that would sing background for Mary J. Blige. She wasn't an artist. She was a background singer, Tiwa Savage. Now she's one of the biggest Afrobeat, the females in Afrobeat music right now from Nigeria. And there was a little young lady named Yemi Holiday that I met. And she had heard about me from the music business in America. And she was intrigued. And she was an upcoming artist, but she was doing R&B. She was trying to do R&B. So she did a couple songs, R&B songs. I think like 4 of them, and none of them really worked. The last one she did kind of worked, Gang Gang Girl. And I would say, you really need to do this music, your own music. I said, all this R&B stuff is not fitting with you. Like, you trying, but, sooner or later, you got to try something new. And she was dead set on R&B. And one day, she just decided that, I think she got disappointed in her 4th song. And she decided, okay, I'm going to sing in my language. I'm going to cut out the R&B stuff and I'm going to try something new. I was fine. And she did. And she did Johnny. And that blew up. Within a year, she had over 100 million views on YouTube with that video.
Wow.
And the world liked that song. Anybody who's seen Johnny, and I looked at her as an actress because she make faces, she have expressions, and she was a star to me. She was just a star. But you had to bring that out. And she showed it to the world in Johnny. And like I said, she's the first female artist in Africa to go have 3 songs, I think, with over 50 million views, including Johnny, which now is up to like close to 200 million views. So, and then there's this guy named Don Jazzy. And Don Jazzy, I don't know how many people understand that or knew him because he was involved in Kanye's West's first album. He produced it. So he made a bunch of money, and he went back to Nigeria. He's Nigerian. He went back to Nigeria after he got paid, and he built a building and a studio and an office, and he started a record label called Maven Records. And Don Jazzy started signing a bunch of young artists. And, I was always there texting them, talking to them, and we just built a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling them how big this music is, how big this music's gonna be, and this and that. And I started helping them promoting the music in America. I was promoting Yemi Holiday in America. I was promoting a lot of the artists because I liked the music. And I started doing it on social media. Davido and Wizkid and, all the kids in Africa that I liked. Even when I traveled and seen Diamond Platinums
Uh-huh.
down in Tanzania, I fell in love with him because he did a video with Davido. And who's this kid? He live in Tanzania. His name is Diamond. I gotta go meet Diamond. So I went down there and I talked to Diamond and I told him, and Diamond was interested in doing songs with American artists. And he's huge. I mean, Diamond been selling out stadiums. Like, he oversells the stadiums.
Wow.
And for people who don't know, they could go on YouTube and pull up Diamond Platinums live in Africa. Diamond, Platnumz. And when you see every country he goes to, he sells out the soccer stadiums, and so he
So
just
who's
tells
working with Neo?
Diamond.
Okay.
Diamond worked with Neo, and Diamond worked with Rick Ross. He have songs with Rick Ross. He have songs with Neo. He and Amarium. And when those guys went down there, they fell in love with him because his personality. He also have a record label, and he have his own artists that he puts out now, and these guys make tons of money, and they could buy the private planes.
Right.
So whenever there's a show in New York or anywhere in the world, they fly their own private jet. David will have his own private jet. Some people expect him to have it because his father is one of the richest men in Africa, but people don't know that Davido made his own way. He made his own way, and I have to give him a lot of credit for that because I think a lot of Americans love Wizkid, which we all love Wizkid, but Davido is who understood the American market better than anybody else.
Okay.
And because he went to school here, he was born
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah.
And he went to school in Alabama, but he hung out in Atlanta. So he had the American swag, the haircut,
Yeah.
the way he wore his clothes, everything. And he kind of understood the US because he went to school here, made music here. So I give him a lot of credit for spreading Afro beats to the world because, he been spreading it for a long time. And a lot of people wasn't into Afro beats at that time. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know. So I just want to big shout out to Davido, big shout out to T.Y. Savage, big shout out to Yemi Holiday. Those are the queens of Afro beats. And then, of course, you go to other countries like Ghana, you go to Zimbabwe, and there's Ja Praiser and them down there who's doing records with American artists too. So then there's a girl in Cameroon. She's like Lauryn Hill. She's an incredible artist, and I missed her. She kind of really, really pushed me into African music. Her name is Gasha, and you can go on YouTube and watch Gasha's videos.
So
She's
most of these artists we can see on YouTube.
Every one of them is on YouTube. with millions of hit views and on their songs. So, and they make a whole lot of money. Their YouTube checks alone is ridiculous, you know, because
So
of
what
the
is your
views they
role?
get.
What is your role?
Well, what I would say, I help.
Okay.
I help the music because I love the music.
So are you development or are you
Yeah,
doing it?
I give advice.
Mm-hmm.
I give advice. I be on sessions, especially this year. I did a lot of stuff with the South Africans, Master KG and them. His girlfriend Makazi, who's a big artist down in South Africa. There's a little young lady down there. Her name is Kamu Mimpela,
Mm-hmm.
and Kamu is ridiculous. She's a young girl who just started putting out videos dancing, and her videos went viral. Her videos would go viral because she's a great dancer.
Uh-huh.
And then she decided on her own that she got to add something to this since she's going viral like this. So she started, it's a rap fusion that she's
Wow.
doing, and she's big and famous right now in in Africa. So you'll hear from her in a minute because she's coming, and nobody's gonna stop little Kamu. She's
But
incredible.
do they really need us?
No, not really. Like
They don't really need us,
that was
right?
a struggle with me to get them to even get their music over here because at first American black people don't like us. Like like they're not gonna embrace us like that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
kind of had to show them that it's all right, y'all. Now everybody's involved in Afrobeat. That was 10 years ago. I'm talking about now. People are hearing the music.
Yeah. A lot of people play the music.
Jay-Z got involved. Him and Beyonce. They did the soundtrack for The Lion King,
Right.
and and they use a lot of the African artists on that soundtrack. You know,
Yep.
and Yemi have a story that's she went to the luncheon and Beyonce ran up on her and hugged her and embraced her, and she thought like, wow,
What
I'm
luncheon?
sitting in Africa. They had a luncheon for the the movie, the
Okay.
Lion King movie,
Okay. Yep.
and all the artists was invited. And Yemi was so shocked how Beyonce walked in the room and seen her, and she never thought Beyonce even knew who she really was and stuff like that. And Beyonce ran up to her and hugged her and told her how much she loved her, and
Oh.
that's one of her best memories. She's saying so. You think that they don't see you, but there's a lot of people that know who you are, and then
Yeah. Yeah. And
and
not only that, but in light of what's going on in the United States, people are looking for
yeah,
that
and that was a reason.
African
Another
African beat.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. I we did a certain kind of music. We did rap music when it was fun and it was happy and it was then there was artists that we had like Public Enemy and them who came out. And I'm a true believer that music is something that gets into people. Music
Mm,
is very influential in people's lives. And I've seen it up close and personal because I watched like in the 80s and early 90s
right.
when Public Enemy and KRS-One and Kwame, what's his name? Fale, what's his
Yeah.
name? All of those guys was making conscious songs. We was fighting the power. We was,
Right.
and
Right.
it influenced. You look around, everybody had on the African map on their stuff, the Malcolm X things. You understand what I'm saying? The music got into the kids on the street, and they got
Yeah.
conscious, and then the powers that be decided that no more.
Yeah.
Black kids was wising up and being conscious, and then they start putting negative music up, disrespecting black women, with the B word and and the guns and drugs. And
Yeah.
as you can see, music influenced that.
Right.
Because and look at it today, the state of black kids
Black
today,
music. Yeah,
and
and
it's the music. It's the
yeah,
music. If
because R&B is not even the same.
no, they don't want none of that. They want us to make the music. They wanted us to make the music, but not for us. Give it to white
Mm,
people. That's why Timbaland and then was producing Justin Timberlake
right.
and Britney Spears and all of them. Vincent Herbert and them brought out Lady Gaga. Um,
Yeah, because she was on
Usher brought out
Akon's.
Usher bought out, yeah, well, Akon label, but it was
Yeah.
still through Jimmy Iovine and them.
Right.
It was still through Interscope at the end of the day. So there was the black people was bringing in these white artists. You understand? And where are they now? Where are
Yeah.
those white artists now? They're bigger. Usher bought um, Justin Timberlake.
Right.
Justin became bigger than Usher. Where's Usher? Where's Justin now? Usher
Yeah.
don't have him. Vincent and them don't have Lady Gaga. You understand what I'm saying? You're just being
Right.
used to, and your music is being used but not for you.
Right.
Because as far as they care, you could just go and make that craziness and call black women hoes and bitches and whatever, and disrespect yourself, glorify guns, glorify money, glorify jewelry, glorify jails, and the private prisons are making a
Yeah.
shitload of
Industrial
money,
complex. Yep.
from, yes, because the music influenced the kids. The kids think it's all right to shoot somebody. They think it's all right to be ignorant because the people that they idolize is musicians, and they talking about it.
Yeah.
They're drinking the cough syrup and the nonsense. So I couldn't do that no more. And Afrobeats gave me a place to go where I could feel important and I could feel the music and I could feel the love coming from the music. And
It's genuine.
it's genuine music. All the little artists, they ain't singing about is I love you. A little artist named Maya Khan. They on Davido label worldwide, DMW Music. And Maya Khan sings about women. Most of them sing and glorify women, and I like that. And that catch my soul. And some of them is going astray now because a lot of them is influenced and want to be now they got the American fever and the American
Yeah.
dollar. So
Yeah.
a lot of them. So my job is getting a little harder now to tell them to stay away from that. Yo, stay away from that. First of all, you guys want to do music with with and come and join. Y'all want to be in America now and give these record labels your money, your talent, and y'all doing fine. Y'all doing just fine without them. Ask Rick Ross, ask Neo, ask Amarian, the American artist that came over there and and fell in love with the country. And Amarian don't
Mm.
want to come home. He's loving. He's making money. He's loving over there. He's speaking in Swahili. He's doing, pull up Diamond Platinum video, African Beauty, and watch Amarian sing in Swahili. It's incredible. And Amarian, last thing he's thinking about
It's
is
coming
America.
back.
Rick Ross went over there, did a record with Yemi, and Rick will tell you. She's like, yo, she's dope. She's dope. She's dope. Rick Ross, I can't tell you the things he said, but you know, everybody and they're welcome.
Mm.
And you know, even Meek Mills did a song with Davido in the earlys in rap beat in Afro beats, and that song is still hitting. Davido still performed that song in his shows. And that's a big, huge rap song. So I say that to encourage anybody who's looking at this interview to get involved. Africa is your home, and they love you all over there. They might tell you no, but you're loved over there.
All right,
We're
so
loved.
we've got 2 minutes. So I
Right.
want my producer to jump in here and talk about his tiny moment meeting Andrew Dice Rhamdhanny.
Like I was saying,
Hey,
Dice, like I was saying, you're a legend, man. And a lot of people, you are behind the successes of some of the biggest popular culture, icons. And I knew that back in the day, 30 years ago. I knew that you were somebody important. And and I struggled for years, doing this artist thing. And hey, I still have no regrets. I mean, we did a lot of great stuff, but you said something to me when I came to you 30 years ago with my songs and my music, and you said, you just need to change your style.
And how did you feel when I said that?
Man, my ego was shattered.
No, but
because I am the great Doc P. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And can't nobody tell me to change nothing about what I'm doing.
Right. So you was mad at me?
Yeah. Oh, I was mad at you for years. I wrote you in my lyrics. Dice from Uptown told me change your style. Gave him a smile, shoveled up that pile, and just forget about it. Don't get upset about it.
Okay.
And your man and rest in power to Gary Jenkins. He signed.
Gary helped us a lot. Gary was the first guy that did radio promotions for us.
Yeah.
And God bless him, and may he rest in peace.
Absolutely.
And Gary was part of the family for years, and he's surely missed.
He signed us, and it was funny because then when I played he
was the attorney too.
Yeah, I know.
He was the attorney.
Yeah, and because see, Dice, we were signed to B-Boy Records at first.
Right.
With Bill Kamara, and we got signed at the wrong time because that's when KRS-One was leaving. Right. So it was like when that happened, it was like we were signed to this label, but then there was a freeze on everything.
Right. Because they wanted to change the music. They got tired of the consciousness. And they see black kids was being real conscious out here. And the powers that be decided we didn't want that. And then it really kicked in during Barack Obama's time, because they don't want to see no Barack Obamas no more. They don't want to see that, no intelligent black man that could speak. And so they decided, okay, music is what influenced kids. So let's dumb down the music. Let's make it. And then when you have a poor kid come in there and he got a little talent, and some of them come in there with the right record, but they're being influenced to, now we don't want that. We want you to sing this.
There was a really big popular radio DJ in New York, and I'm not gonna say his name. But when he heard our music, he was like, yo, I really love what y'all doing, but I could really get you hooked up if you change what it is that you're saying.
Right.
So instead of all of that, consciousness stuff, if you could just, tell me some shit about some bitches and about this.
Yeah.
He's like, I could have you on the plane to California and this and that and the third.
I'm not doing that. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not doing that. And
actually, I was sort of down with it, but my business partner, Stevie D, he was like, we ain't going to do that.
No.
I said, come on, man. We can make this money.
I don't want no parts of the music industry with that. Yeah. I'm not going to encourage that. I think I'm older and I understand the industry. So I could have stayed and A&R'd some of those songs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't worth it to me. It wasn't
Dice,
worth it.
let me ask you this then.
Yes.
if you were in this era, would you get out?
I bet, of course, that's why I got out.
He's been out.
But I'm saying, you're coming
Yes,
into the
I
industry.
seen it. Well, I don't know.
If you were coming in now,
If I was coming in now, I don't
if
think
you
I
were
would
coming
be.
in now,
With me knowing that at my age, don't think I would have came into that.
as a young man,
I wouldn't have been interested in that because I think at the end of the day, I'm from the islands and I grew up with my grandparents. And before I came to America, I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandmother especially, she had taught me a whole lot of values. And I don't think because of her, I would have did that.
mm.
As a young man, I think I would have found that it wouldn't even have interest me. So, if I didn't music, I was cool being a DJ at one point in my early life, which we never spoke about.
And tell me a teeny weeny bit about that, because I never knew you were a DJ.
I was a DJ in New York
so
City.
out of time right now.
Yes.
I know, but Dice, real quick, where were you a DJ?
In New York City and in the military.
Nice.
But did you?
I was
were
on
you
radio in Panama. I got on radio when I was in the military, just from being DJ. I used to pack the beaches in Panama and all over on Sundays, but that was a long time ago. So when you asked me earlier about sound check,
yes,
and how I knew the music, I forgot to tell you that. So I always knew music because I was a DJ. I had big speakers that I had a crew called the Boogie Brothers up in the Bronx. Big up to Leslie Moore, my man Kevin Moore. It was a whole bunch of us was DJs, and we started a crew in the 70s. And, so.
Wow. Dice, he's the gift that keeps on giving, man. We can have you here doing the show every week.
No, we could do one more. Absolutely. To make it, because and then you could put it together the right way.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot I want to say, and I want to talk to the artists that's coming up here and taking that money, and just give a little advice. I want to have one of these where I could put my 2 cents in. I don't know if it's going to help, but I feel that I have to do it.
Yeah, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about also, and we're out of time.
Right.
What is this industry, and what is it that young people need to look for?
Well,
how they negotiate?
They're not going to change it because remember, it was drugs put in our community at one time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one man would get rich to destroy the whole community, right? A couple get rich and the community falls because the crackheads come along and this and that, the junkies. So they can't do that in the neighborhoods no more because the neighborhoods are gentrified. Their kids are living in the neighborhoods.
That's right.
Their kids know the boy who's selling weed on the corner.
Right.
They friends with the guy at the corner store now. So they're living with us. That's why in Black Lives Matter, you see a lot of them out there. A lot of us is mad at the regentrifying process. And I think that Black people need to educate themselves because you keep saying they're moving in our neighborhoods, but in our neighborhoods, very few of y'all own any buildings in the neighborhood. I understand. It is the white man's building that you're living in. So he was there before you. He ain't coming to take nothing you got.
He never
left.
Yeah.
But his kids, appreciate his kids that's out in the streets with y'all protesting. Why are they protesting? Because they've been in your neighborhoods and they're seeing your plight close up.
We got to stop it right there. We got to stop it right there.
So that's what I'm saying. We could go into the politics part,
man.
and the teaching part. And there's a lot of things I want to say, I know I might make people mad at me for saying it, but you got to stand up and see that this is the first time in our lifetime that we are protesting, and we have their kids out there with us.
We have allies.
We have
Dice
allies.
Rhamdhanny. Dice Rhamdhanny. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time, your knowledge.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're an unsung hero of this business, whether people want to recognize you or not. Everybody that has really been there really knows who you are.
I know. And I'm not one.
And you've been quiet about it a real long time.
Well, people know who I am. The people that I think that's important to know who I am, they know who I am. That's true. I'm not one that run around looking for fame. I'm not jumping around here shaking up a champagne bottle and spilling it in the air and showing people that I could pay $600 for a $100 bottle, of champagne, So,
but you're black famous anyway.
I like, yeah. I do. The people who need to know me know me.
Know you.
So
Sugar Dice Entertainment, Melody Music Worldwide. We're gonna get you back. Okay.
Peace.
Thank you, Dice. Yeah, this has been The Collective. Thank you, Doc. You are wonderful as usual. This has been The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio.
Thank you, guys.